You might have been seeing a lot of this recently while watching the Olympics. This is the custom 2.5-inch FPV drone capturing most of these shots. It's built specifically for the Olympic Games by Dutch drone gods, and it's capturing and broadcasting nearly every event to the world. If you've been watching the 2026 Olympics, you might have noticed a ton of FPV shots, and I mean a ton. This is arguably the first year where FPV drones have been used this extensively and covered nearly every event from indoor to out. While I was watching the Olympics just last week, I noticed so much FPV being used that I decided to look into it, and what I found was truly fascinating. Let's start off with the drone that's being used to do all of this. So the majority of the FPV flying at the Olympics is done by the Dutch drone gods. If you haven't heard of them, they're one of the leading FPV drone teams. And for this Winter Olympics, they were commissioned with a challenge: creating a small, lightweight drone that is able to be maneuvered at high speeds while also having a camera on board that's capable of streaming live to the Olympic broadcast system. That's a lot to ask for, but Ralph Hagenberg, the co-founder of Dutch Drone Gods, took it upon himself to create this 2.5-inch FPV drone that's capable of exactly that.
So this is our custom-made broadcast drone specifically for the Olympics and these sports. We've made sure that we have a good broadcasting camera and transmitter in there. They are dedicated for the TV show. And then I have a camera which connects to my goggles so I can see where I'm going. And this whole package is under 250 grams. So we really managed to pack all of those components in a very small and light drone.
This was the drone that I was watching capture the skeleton event last week, and I was completely blown away. I actually couldn't believe my eyes that I was watching FPV being flown at the Olympics. Ralph Hagenberg mentions that in order to prepare for this event, he had to fly this drone over 50 times throughout the track to be sure of every turn and obstacle in the way.
We've done this now 50 or 60 times per day over the last week. By now I can kind of dream the track, but I still have to, every time I dive in, I'm like full focus, no distractions, just going forward and keeping focus. So yeah, nothing goes wrong.
And for high stakes flying like this at the Olympics, I'm surprised that he only needed 50 times. Drones like this are actually very capable. The way he built this was that the drone is able to power itself, the video transmitter, and the tech on board that makes the drone capable of broadcasting back to the OBS. One of the interesting things about this drone is the inverted propellers, and I think it's meant to keep away the possibility of the props cutting any of the cables. This drone is capable of filming and broadcasting in HD HDR, weighs only 243 grams, and can fly up to 100 kilometers an hour in order to keep up with the insane speeds of the sport. Now, this isn't the only FPV drone being used for the Olympics. The OBS has a reported lineup of 25 FPV drones. All the drones are capable of broadcasting. Some of them are backups, and some are other 5-inch drones that are built for more intense and rigorous flights, like down the mountainside and having to deal with the wind and the snow and the elevation. I find it interesting how even though these drones are custom built, they still feature the DJI air units for flying, and all the pilots are using DJI gear. I think it's kind of ironic when you think about how American athletes are being filmed with DJI equipment, and it's the same gear that was banned just recently in the US. And so with the Summer Olympics coming up in LA in 2028, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out and what the FPV drone situation is going to look like, because obviously the Olympics isn't going to want to take a step back from using FPV drones. They're going to want to double down on it, but then DJI gear is banned, so that'll be interesting. Back to the current Olympics. I found it fascinating to see how these FPV drones were capturing everything from snowboarding, skiing, long jump, bobsleigh, skeleton, indoor speed skating, and all the way to establishing shots of the Olympic Village and the mountainside for in between all the events. One of the things that I found so funny is that there's been lots of reports from people who are going to these events to watch it. All they're hearing is the buzzing sound from the FPV drones. Even some of the athletes have mentioned how close for comfort these FPV drones were getting. I personally think that this is just the start of FPV drones being used in the Olympics and for sporting events, and this is actually a really big deal and a move in the right direction. I think it's a big redeemer for FPV drones, especially because of the the bad rep that it's been receiving over the past few years because of how it's being used in global conflict. If you know, you know. Back in 2020, 2019, when FPV drones kind of just got popularized and you were seeing reels and shorts and vertical short form content about these drones flying through volcanoes and the infamous bowling alley shot, I think this was a big peak for FPV. And then it kind of slowly got a bad rep throughout the last couple of years. And I think now it being included in events like the Olympics, which is the biggest sporting event in human history, being so successfully used and giving such a unique perspective, I think it's like a huge win. And it's really cool to see the drones that are being made and developed for these purposes. Like, these are now going to be used in all the sporting events, and I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for so many drone pilots, for so many live event streams where they can get these unique shots, and it's just so exciting. Now, that being said, if you're interested in learning how to fly FPV, I have a bunch of videos on my channel, also other videos of just going over the different drones that you can get and testing them out and trying them out. If you're interested in seeing more about this, check out my channel, check out the other videos, and I also have a blog called FPV Core, where I just put in all the information of how to get started, the best drones to choose, everything to finding clients and accessories and everything that you could possibly need to learn. I took the time to write it all out over the last year, so it's got a ton of information, so definitely go check that out if you're interested. With that being said, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think of FPV drones being used for the Olympics and for sporting events. I think it's genuinely going to change the direction in which events are going to be captured, and like the change in perspective is just going to be so fascinating. I'm like literally genuinely so excited and happy about this. It caught me so off guard the last couple of weeks when I was watching the Olympics. I was like, this looks like how I would want to capture the Olympics. And then seeing the shots play through, I had a moment where it just clicked. Like, I just realized, I'm like, wait, that's an FPV drone shot. Like, but no, they can't, like, it can't be. FPV drones are they're just so high risk. How is it possible that they're using FPV drones? And looking into this, there's just like a whole team behind it, custom drones being developed, and they're using it across every event. So I just think that's absolutely incredible. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Check out all the links in the description. I will see you guys in the next video very soon. Peace.